Okay, so get ready because today we're going to really dig into something that I think is going to be a little controversial.
Oh, yeah.
It's what makes older men attractive to younger women.
Interesting.
But before anyone starts, jumping to conclusions,
Yeah.
we are not here to say, like, whether this is good or bad or to endorse or debunk any stereotypes.
Right.
We are just going to unpack what this source says about, like, the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a lot more interesting than just, the cliche of, like, money and flashy cars and stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, it's actually really focused on things like emotional intelligence
Yeah.
and, like, communication, which I thought was pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's fascinating how this source, immediately says that maturity is, a key difference.
Right.
And it contrasts that with what it calls emotional instability, uncertainty, and impulsive behavior.
Oh, wow.
And it says that that's often attributed to younger men.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about, how much of this is actually
Yeah.
based on, developmental differences
Right.
versus, how much is ingrained in societal narratives.
Yeah, it's like we've all heard those stories about, reckless youth.
Yeah.
And then they, magically become like this wise, dependable, older gentleman.
Right.
But is that actually what happens?
Exactly.
How much of that is biology versus just, the stories we tell ourselves about different age groups?
Absolutely.
That's something I bet you've thought about too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it begs the question of how much is hardwired versus how much is cultural,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
influence.
totally.
So the source gets really interesting when it starts talking about communication.
Mm-hmm.
It says that younger women think older men who are clear and honest communicators are really attractive.
Oh, wow.
There's even a line that says, when a woman feels like she doesn't have to guess what you're thinking, she will naturally feel more at ease with you.
I can see why that would be appealing. Because instead of all those guessing games, you're just up front
Right.
about what you want and how you feel.
Exactly.
Takes a lot of pressure off, I would think.
For sure. I mean, it goes beyond just what you want and how you feel.
Oh, okay.
It's also setting boundaries and communicating expectations.
Right.
And really listening to the other person.
Yeah,
That-
which is active listening.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
It's a rare skill.
Yeah.
At any age.
At any age, yeah. Totally.
So it's about creating a space
Yeah,
where both people feel comfortable being open and vulnerable.
that's really interesting.
And this connects really well with this source's advice on dating.
Oh,
Forget about just
casual hanging out.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
This source is all about planning really thoughtful dates.
Okay.
As a way to show that you're interested and that you respect the other person.
I like that.
It seems to be more about being intentional than just being spontaneous.
Right.
So instead of a last minute text,
Yeah.
it's about putting in the effort
Okay.
to create a memorable experience.
Yeah.
That actually is in line with her interests.
Right.
Maybe you even remember something from a previous conversation and work it into the date,
Yeah. Yeah, little details.
That kind of attention to detail, I think, really makes a difference.
For sure. And it's funny because the source actually makes this analogy.
Okay.
It says, anyone can take a woman to dinner, but what makes the experience memorable is how you engage with her during the date.
Oh, wow. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not about flashing your cash.
Right.
It's about showing that you see her, you
Yeah.
hear her,
Yeah.
and you genuinely value being with her,
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it goes back to that theme of emotional maturity,
Right.
being present,
Mm-hmm.
having an actual conversation,
Right.
remembering those little details.
Yeah.
It's more powerful than just words. And something else that's really powerful
What's that?
is confidence.
Oh, yeah. But not the...
Not the arrogant kind.
You're not the chest thumping kind.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more about the quiet confidence.
I'm intrigued already.
Exactly. It's about that kind of inner confidence that shines through.
Uh-huh.
And it comes from knowing your worth and
Yeah.
accepting yourself, flaws and all.
Right.
The source actually uses that phrase, knowing your worth.
Oh, wow.
And it says that women can tell the difference between real confidence
Yeah.
and when a guy's trying to cover up his insecurities.
Makes total sense. I've definitely met guys like that
Whoa.
who try so hard to seem confident,
Yeah,
but it's just all an act.
right. It's all bluster,
Yeah.
no substance.
Being genuine is just so much more attractive.
I totally agree. And the source doesn't really get into the evolutionary psychology,
Uh-huh.
but you could argue that this kind of genuine confidence
Yeah.
signals things like stability and resilience, and even resourcefulness.
Right.
which are all things that have always been attractive
Yeah.
from like a survival and mating standpoint.
That's really interesting. So it's like confidence is like a sign of
Yeah.
a lot of good qualities.
Exactly.
The source also talks about how confidence can show up in a man's appearance.
Oh, interesting.
It says that older men tend to have a more refined style
Right.
than younger guys who might be chasing all the latest trends.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I think it comes back to that idea of self-awareness.
Uh-huh.
You know, as men get older,
Yeah.
they often become more aware of like
Yeah.
what works for them,
Okay.
both in terms of their style and just how they present themselves in general.
Right. So it's not really about following fashion rules.
Right?
It's more about just paying attention to the details.
Exactly.
Like clothes that fit well.
Right.
Taking care of their grooming,
Yeah.
looking put together.
Exactly. It's like they've moved on from trying to fit in, and now they're like defining their own style.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got maturity, communication, thoughtful dating, and confidence.
Right.
What else does the source say is important for attracting younger women?
Well, this one might surprise you.
Okay.
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. Wow.
Yeah.
You don't hear that very often,
Right.
especially when talking about men.
Yeah.
So what does the source say about why this is so important?
Well, the source argues that emotional intelligence is crucial for building healthy relationships.
Okay.
It's about being in tune with your own emotions and your partner's emotions,
Mm-hmm.
being able to handle conflict in a healthy way,
Yeah.
and making the relationship feel emotionally safe and secure.
So it's not about being like stoic and unemotional.
No, not at all.
It's more about being empathetic and understanding.
Exactly.
Right.
The source suggests that as men get older,
Uh-huh.
they ideally become more aware of their own emotions, and they get better at navigating the ups and downs of relationships.
Huh?
And it kind of implies that younger men
Yeah.
might struggle with this more.
Right. Like they haven't quite figured it out yet.
Yeah, which can lead to a lot of drama and conflict,
Right.
you know?
Which nobody wants.
Nobody wants that.
So being emotionally mature
Yeah,
would be a really appealing quality.
absolutely. It's like being with someone who can handle life's challenges
Yeah.
without freaking out.
Exactly.
The source also mentions how emotional intelligence is tied to being ready for a relationship.
Okay.
It says that older men are often seen as more ready for commitment.
Right.
Like, they know what they want in a partner,
Uh-huh.
and they're not afraid to settle down.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Because a lot of younger women are at a point in their lives where
Right.
they're starting to think about long-term goals,
Yeah.
maybe starting a family.
exactly.
And the source even points out
Uh-huh.
that younger women can sometimes get frustrated with guys their own age
Right.
who are still figuring things out.
Yeah. Or afraid of commitment.
They're just not ready to settle down.
Exactly.
But isn't it a little dangerous to generalize like that?
You're right.
I mean, not every older man wants to settle down.
right.
And not every younger woman wants a serious relationship.
You're absolutely right. Individual desires and experiences are all different. We're
Right.
just talking about general trends here.
Right.
But the source does seem to suggest
Yeah.
that as men get older,
Uh-huh.
they tend to become more clear about what they want
Okay.
in life and in relationships.
And that clarity and intentionality
Yeah.
can be very attractive.
Absolutely.
So we've got maturity, communication, thoughtful dating, confidence, and emotional intelligence.
Right.
Is there anything else the source emphasizes?
Yes. And this one might seem a little counterintuitive.
Okay, I'm listening.
Approachability.
Approachability.
Yeah.
How does that fit in with the idea that older men are attractive to younger women?
Well, the source says that even if an older man is interested in a younger woman,
Right.
she might make assumptions about him
Okay.
based on his age.
Like if he's available or interested?
Exactly.
Right.
It's like older men can sometimes accidentally give off an unapproachable vibe.
So even if he's got all the other stuff,
Right.
maturity, communication, confidence,
Yeah.
he still needs to make sure he's sending the right signals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about those nonverbal cues,
Like what?
like a genuine smile,
Mm-hmm.
open body language,
Right.
making eye contact.
Don't be afraid to smile,
Exactly.
no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
That's good advice for anyone, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's like a reminder that first impressions matter,
totally.
and those nonverbal cues can really make a difference.
Okay, so we've got maturity, communication, thoughtful dating, confidence, emotional intelligence, and now approachability.
Right.
That's quite a list.
It is.
Is there a common thread running through all of these?
I think so.
What is it?
If you really look at it,
Yeah.
the source isn't saying that older men should try to be younger.
Right.
It's more about embracing the strengths and wisdom
Yeah.
that come with age and experience.
It's like, be the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
No matter how old you are.
Right.
Own your story and approach relationships with like intention,
Yeah.
authenticity,
Yeah.
and emotional maturity.
Exactly.
But here's a question for you
Yep.
and for our listener.
Huh.
The source is talking to older men
Right.
who want to attract younger women.
Right.
But wouldn't all of these qualities,
Right.
maturity, communication, confidence, emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
be good for any relationship?
That's a great point.
No matter the age difference.
I think you're right.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not really about attracting a specific age.
Yeah,
It's about becoming a better partner in general.
right. And recognizing that attraction is about way more
Yeah.
than just superficial stuff.
Absolutely.
It's about who you are as a person, your
Yep.
emotional maturity, and being able to connect on a deeper level.
It's about those deep connections.
Yeah,
It's like the age thing is kind of a side issue.
right.
What we're really talking about is like the foundation
Yeah,
of any good relationship,
Right.
whether it's romantic or friends or even at work.
totally. And it's like, once you take away all the age stuff,
Yeah.
this source is basically like a guide
Right.
to being a better partner overall.
Exactly.
And it's realizing that, you know, attraction isn't just about
Yeah.
superficial things.
It's about so much more than that.
It's about character
Yeah.
and emotional maturity
Uh-huh.
and being able to really connect with someone.
Those deep connections.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. And it's like
Yeah.
we're all always growing and changing.
Absolutely.
And these qualities that the source talks about, they're
Yeah.
not like set in stone.
Right.
You can learn them
You can develop them
and get better at them.
over time. Right.
Sure.
So it's not about trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
It's about being yourself
Yeah.
and working on becoming the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
Well said.
You know, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah,
it's important to remember that relationships are complicated.
for sure.
There's no like magic formula
Right.
or one size fits all approach.
Yeah. Everyone's different.
Everyone's different.
But hopefully this conversation has given you some things to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe challenge some of your assumptions.
Yeah, 100%.
And maybe even given you some ideas
Mhm.
for how to approach your own relationships.
Yeah, like with more intention.
Right. With more intention.
And awareness.
Yeah.
You know, at
Exactly.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway from this source
Right.
is the importance of being authentic.
Right.
Be yourself,
Yeah.
embrace your strengths,
Uh-huh.
and never stop learning and growing.
I love that.
Those are the things that matter,
Right.
no matter how old you are.
It's about being the best version of yourself.
Yeah. Not just for someone else,
Right.
but for you.
For you.
And you know, even though this source focuses on older men and younger women,
Yeah.
I think these insights apply to anyone
I think so too.
who wants to have better relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we all want to connect with other people,
Yeah,
no matter our age
right.
or relationship status.
So to everyone listening,
Yeah.
as you navigate the world of relationships, remember to be curious.
Stay open.
And most importantly,
Be yourself.
be yourself, you know?
That's great advice.
And who knows, maybe our next deep dive will uncover even more
Oh, yay.
fascinating insights
Into the human heart.
into the human heart.
Until then, keep those minds open
Keep those hearts curious.
and keep diving deep.